Mambo. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is on a Monday. I had promised that I was to post another tutorial on Sunday, but nimekuwa busy kidogo, sijapata nafasi ya kuipost. And today I thought it is good that I do it. But before I go to my second tutorial, allow me to, just as a very brief overview, maybe kwa watu hawakuwa ama those who have not gone through the first tutorial, as a recap, tuone what we covered, ndio tuko on the same page zote. So in the first tutorial, for those who are not there, we covered what is academic lighting. It was a very short but brief introduction. We looked at the general introduction to academic lighting. We defined what is academic lighting. So this is what we looked at. We said that academic lighting is also known as a scholarly lighting. It is also a non-fiction lighting. Mostly it is done in learning institutions, including universities and colleges. It is also characterized by evidence-based materials. When you light, we say that you use a variety of lighting materials. These materials can be searched online. We also said that there are a lot of databases you can use to research your materials online. It also covers a number of disciplines, so call them fields. There are many, including those that we highlighted, such as engineering, mathematics, economics, sociology, anthropology, and the rest. Then after that, we looked at lighter qualities. What are the qualities of a good lighter? The qualities that you must possess so that you can remain excellent in your writing. So we covered, I think, 3. Let me share with you what we covered. So that's what we, no, not that really. We covered qualities of a good academic writer. There were 3. First, we said that a good writer uses acceptable and appropriate methods when doing research. We also said that such a writer argues using varied evidence, of course, from credible sources. We also, just a moment, I don't know, okay, just a moment. Okay. Yes, we covered that, those. Then we moved on again. We moved on to Academic papers, the types of academic papers that we have, those that tunaandika sana in academic writing. We discussed a number of them, more than 5 types. We talked about essays. Under the essays, the 5 types, like analytical, argumentative, persuasive, and the rest. So as a brief overview, let's just look at what we discussed. So we discussed that. We looked at the introduction to academic papers. Then under the heading of essays, we say that an essay is a piece of writing that centers on a single subject or theme. Essays range between 1 to 4 pages. If it goes there, we say that there is a different thing. It could be a research paper. Then under the types of essays, we looked at analytical essays, cause and effect, argumentative or persuasive, descriptive essays, reaction papers. You can also have reflection papers, books and movie reviews. I highlighted about what each deals with. I hope you guys understood that. Then we looked at the research papers. We made a comparison. So under the research papers, this is what we looked at. Just a minute. There. We looked at research papers. Then I said that a research paper is a bit longer than an essay, and it is 5 pages plus. We said that a page has 300 words. These research papers are more or less the same the essays in terms of structure. A typical structure of a research paper has an introduction, background information, literature review, results and discussion, then conclusion. The only thing that we say that an essay doesn't have is a literature review and resource or discussion, but it has an introduction. It must have a background, body parts where you discuss your arguments, then a conclusion. Then we ended our first tutorial there. Then my second tutorial will cover a number of aspects which I'll discuss shortly. We look at 3 things. So once again, welcome. I hope this tutorial will be of importance. It will give you mileage. Thanks and welcome. So still under the types of papers, we are now looking at the reports, speeches, personal statements, application essays, and the scholarship essays. So by definition, these are the structured forms of writing. They often require a certain level of creativity and the scales. For instance, you have been told to describe an event or suitability of a topic, or to examine a certain aspect or a topic, anything. So reports, speeches, personal statements, application essays, and the scholarship essays, each has its unique structure which we can look later on as we progress with this training. Then we have master's thesis and dissertations. Under this, just a moment. Just a moment. Okay. Master's theses, these ones mostly huandikwa by master's students. This one mostly the dissertations hizo andikwa na PhD students. These two papers regularly require a high level of experience, subject understanding, data analytical skills, and some competencies in literature review, and to a greater extent, high level of information synthesizing. As they have almost the same structure. Then we have a typical structure, a format of either a thesis or a dissertation paper. The first is chapter 1. Chapter 1, which is an introduction. Then under this, we have some parts you need to discuss. First is the research statement, research problem. What does your study seek to solve? Then we have the research questions. Which questions do you want to tackle? Then you can also include research hypothesis. This one. We have a null hypothesis presented by H0. Is a null hypothesis. Then we have H1. Need alternative hypothesis. You only need to prove H1, then a hypothesis yenye it asserts that for instance, if proof is here, it will not cause. That's why you concentrate. Then we have what we call research delimitations. I usually unaita delimitations of a research. Basically, what was the challenges what challenges do you expect to encounter as you do your research? Then we have chapter 2, convinced here. This should be chapter 2 literature review. Chapter 2 should, in fact, this should be chapter 2. This should deal with the literature review. You present the literature, the studies, the sources you seek to support your claims, your search questions, your hypotheses. You bring a number of researches, then you synthesize them. Basically, you want to prove that they are in support of your topic. Then chapter 3, this is chapter 2. Then chapter 3, this one is a research methodology. Here, in this section, you bring out, you discuss the methods you intend to use, research design, sample methods. Say you talk about the sample size, the design. With method, but there are a number of methods. Research could be either it could either use qualitative or quantitative. Qualitative, quantify, quantitative. We shall discuss this again. Then sample, how many people do you want to interview in your paper? Then research design, Scovingi. We shall look at that into details. Then this should be chapter 4. It will deal with the research findings after you have gathered your data, you have interviewed your respondents. Now you want to present the data. This is the section where you present your data, the findings. The findings. What did you find from your research? Then the 5th chapter is results and discussion. Here you discuss your results in details. Then you make recommendations again. You also give a summary. Then chapter 6 again. Chapter 6 should be the conclusion, the recommendation now. Sorry, I didn't say that. Then, but basically, yes, as you can see, you give a conclusion. You give a summary of what you have discussed. Then you provide some recommendations, maybe for future studies. Perhaps there are some aspects you didn't cover, maybe from the limitations you experience, the challenges. What do you want the research in the future to cover? This is where you now discuss about that. Then let's look at the structure of an academic paper. So an academic paper, we also talked this area. Tulisema an academic paper ikona the first part ni introduction. Is introduction. Then introduction is one of the most important parts of your paper. I'm not saying that the rest are not important, but it lays out your claim. In fact, it introduces your topic to your audience. So when writing these papers, when you writing the introduction, you start the essay by identifying your argument, the topic. Now present the topic. Then, for instance, you could be talking about the causes and the effects of unemployment in Kenya, for instance. That's the topic. So say this paper talks about the causes and the effects of unemployment in Kenya. After that, you provide a very brief overview, background, and the context of your paper. Mark this word, context of your paper. Then, as I've written here, a background should be general. It really should be general enough, because it should give your audience a general understanding of what you want to cover in your paper about the topic again. Okay, let's move forward. Also note at this point is an important point. Listen. Learn the art of using statistical data to capture the attention of your audience. This thing is called attention getter, attention grabber, as I've said. It's a hook point. In other words, is a hook point. You want to hook the attention of your readers, your audience. It's a very important. With the time, maybe you will learn how to write those points. Then, and to look at this figure again, is what we call a funnel. So, a funnel technique when you're writing your introduction. So, as you can see, it moves this way. Start from the broad area, the general area. This is our G, general. As you move down, you go to specific. Let me just mark it by a specific S. This now specific. So move from the general point to the specific. When doing so, make sure that you provide the context, an overview. Then we have moved from the general. You move to the context. Then down here, we'll now wind up with your thesis statement, which should be specific. Yeah. We talked about this statement. We defined it, and I gave some examples. But in this part again, we shall look at it into further details. And let's now look at now look at a thesis statement. What is a thesis statement? So every paper that you write must have a thesis statement. It is a very important part of a paper because it declares what you want to talk about. This statement basically should be positioned at the last line of your first paragraph, the introduction part. By definition, it proves the aim of your paper. In fact, it declares the aim of the paper. Where possible, it also directs your audience to what you're discussing, where you are going in your essay. But also make a difference, as I said, make a difference between a thesis statement and a statement of purpose. We also have a weak and strong thesis statements. How do you know that this one is a weak, this one is a strong? I'll discuss that. But bear in mind that a good essay must have a strong essay statement. So I've also said here, also said that this statement is an assertion of what you want to establish in your paper, what you want to discuss in your paper. So after going through that, let us move forward. Let's look at that diagram again. This diagram is also in reference to introduction. So introduce your general topic. This is the funnel I was talking about. This is it. So make a general statement. Provide an overview, context. Then wind up with a thesis statement. So again, this should be general, context, then this is the assertion. Now you declare what your paper will deal is all about. And attention catcher, the one I've discussed above, attention getter, should start before you begin your topic. Before you introduce your topic, it should start, then follow that on. Let us look at an example. Let's look at an example of a thesis statement using the topic that we have already introduced above. So this is you start from here. This is the topic. This is the topic. Then we move from the general to specific. So the topic is effect of unemployment in Kenya among the youth. My general statement is here. The level of unemployment in Kenya is a worrisome problem. So I've continued now. I'm giving the context according to a report published by the World Bank in 2016. At least now I'm citing statistics. 13% of Kenyans aged between 12, 15 and 24 are unemployed. I've again stated where I've got my source is from World Bank 2016. Besides, there are at least 15,000 people, this is still my context, who graduate annually according to SAM now. SAM 2016 says there are at least 15,000 youths in Kenya who graduate from different colleges, universities every year. Some scholars have attributed the high number of unemployment to skill mismatch, low economic growth, and unfavorable policies. I've stated Sama, again 2016, is among those writers who have found that. Then the consequence has been the high rising number of crimes. Now, what does unemployment cause? It causes increased crimes, street violence. It makes most of these youths to engage in drug abuse and other related practices, and spread of HIV, among others. Now, here's my thesis statement. Now, this is the last sentence of my introduction. It says, in retrospect, this essay or such paper discusses or describes the causes of unemployment in Kenya and their consequences. So I've declared my intention in this paper, what the paper will deal with. However, these are general thesis. Over time, in fact, there are different types of thesis statements you can write. I like when you advance, you can write what you call a 3-point essay. 3-point thesis, 3-point, this 3, then point, thesis, where you list 3 items. Item 1, item 2, and item 3, to make it 3 factors. But at the moment, stick to this one, the general one. In retrospect, this essay, all such paper, discusses or describes or examines the causes of unemployment in Kenya and the consequences. So, causes and the effects of employment in Kenya. The last line in my introduction has introduced, as in fact highlighted, what my intention that paper is. Now move ahead again. We look at what is a weak and a strong thesis. Examples, I've given some examples here. One example of a weak essay, weak thesis statement is here. This essay argues that, insert your assertion here. A strong thesis statement will state these perspectives and demonstrate topics that the essay is going to cover, like I've mentioned above. For instance, I'll say this essay argues that you insert your assertion here, because you again insert your claim 1, then claim 2, then claim 3, then claim 4, but make it 3 to be a 3-point essay. 3-point thesis now. It's talking about 3-point this statement. Just leave at claim 3. Say this essay argues that insert your assertion because claim 1, claim 2, claim 3, so that claim 1 will be your first, you will be a second paragraph. Claim 2 will be your third, claim 4 will be your fourth, and then you make a conclusion. That's in case of an essay. So let's look at the body paragraphs of either research or an essay paper. That should be the last topic I'm covering, but I'll represent others. So we are looking at the body paragraphs. So paragraphs, an essay, research paper has a number of paragraphs. Paragraphs are the building blocks of an essay. Okay, each paragraph must have a thesis statement or sentence, a topical sentence. I want you to concentrate on this. It should have a topical sentence. Declare your topic. Declare what that paragraph is dealing with. After the topic sentence, and now a very brief background context. I mean, support arguments, and conclude that paragraph with a transition. You can also put a summary, but make a transition to the next paragraph. So I say standard paragraph must have at least 3 sentences, and no less than that for academic papers. Article letters, leave that alone. Others argue that they have a minimum of 5 sentences. In fact, a good paragraph must have a minimum of 5 sentences. Also suggest not using longer paragraphs. You should not just cover a page 300 words, then you say that is a paragraph. You should split it. A paragraph should be split into like 4 or 5 paragraphs. A page of or area said on 300 words. 300 words. So divided by 5, you can see how many paragraphs it is andika hapo, ama 4. So that is the end of that tutorial. Until next tutorial. Now it is almost morning. It is 3 a.m. now. Usiku mwema. I beg to take some sleep. We shall talk later. I'll give further directions. Wakati nita prepare another tutorial, I will share with you. However, the group is watu bado ni kama mko busy, sioni mtu mkiongea. There's an assignment nilikuwa nimepeana. Those groups are hosted kwa Zoom. None has replied. Please let me know. Others, thank you so much. I hope you'll find this material helpful. Kwaherini.